Hi everyone, Holly Pike here from Artistic Cutworks. Not sure what happened to that last video, but hopefully y'all will find me. I'm going to start over. Tonight we're going to do a design using the Conical warp in the Silhouette software, Business Edition software. I'm going to put a little saying on this thermos, this wine glass thermos. And it's just going to be something a little fun, a little cute, so that I can show you how the Conical warp works and how the warp feature for adjusting text and items works. Hey Lenora. So let's go ahead and get started. This glass, as you can see, is smaller up here than it is down here, and then it gets considerably smaller down at the bottom. I want my design to be from here to here. I don't want it to be down here because this takes a drastic dive here. So I'm just going to make my design from here to here. And I'm going to show you how I do that measurement to get it so that it really is within that area. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go over to my software and we're just going to start and do this design. So I'm going to choose my font, or text rather, and go over here and say we want to choose a font. I'll choose the AZ Clouds and type in, whoops, wine, not, and a question mark. Okay, now I want to align it because it's not going to be, obviously it's not aligned, so I'm going to draw a box around it with a left click and drag around the area. Go to my alignment tools and click on center. We're going to align center right there. I'm also going to click on this, the vertical spacing. I want the spacing here to be about the same as the spacing there. Okay, it was pretty close. Let's add a little color because I work in color. I'm very visual. Okay, so our design is pretty much the way I want it. Now, let's make this a little bigger because I want you to see what I do with the warp. I'm going to go here, down to this little, I guess that's called a flyout panel, and choose the warp settings. I'm going to choose warp selected shapes. And then I'm going to play with this a bit and just have a little fun. I can pull these out. I can even pull it over like that. I can skew it. It's kind of a fun little thing. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. It's different every time I do it, and that's kind of fun. Go back here and warp. I'm going to bring the ends in and this up. I'm just playing with it until I get it kind of the way I'm happy. Okay, I'm happy with that. And now I'll go back to here and do my question mark. I'm going to widen my question mark at the top and pull it together at the bottom. There's also little points here that you can pull out and do things with, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. So you can play with your fonts, you know, pretty much as you want. And I'm going to select them again and align to make sure everything's cool after I played with them. But I really don't want that much space between them. So I'm going to select it and use my arrow keys just to move it up. To about where I want it. Again, I'm going to align and then align vertically. playing with fonts takes some time. It takes some time because alignment, until it looks pleasant to your eye, it's an issue of how long am I going to play with this before I'm just actually really, really happy with it. And I think I'm happy with it. I think I'm good with it. Okay, so now let's go over here and go back into the warp, and I want to do a conical wrap. You can see there's a couple more settings down here. I'm going to conical wrap the selected shapes. And notice this odd rectangle-ish type thing comes up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my settings in these boxes. So I'm going to take the measurement of the upper diameter, and I'm going to use my cool little digital calipers you can get on Amazon. And they're just called digital calipers. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to measure across the top. And I don't know if y'all, whoops, I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it says like 3.19, okay? So now I'm going to put 3.19 right here, okay? And notice that the shape changed a little bit. I'm going to close this, zero it out, and now I'm going to measure across here, across the widest point. Okay, and it's right there. If y'all can see it, there you go. 3.45. Okay. So that's going to go here because that's my widest spot. And now the height. Notice the shape changed again. I'm going to cancel it out, and I'm going to measure the distance where I want my design. If I measure this whole thing, it's going to do the whole cup. So I want just the distance of where I'm putting my design, right there. And that says about 3.16. Okay? And we're going to apply. And you, whoops, that went away. Okay, there it is again. So it kind of went away for some reason, but I don't know why. Okay, so we have our measurements have changed. That's really exciting. So it was 3.15 roughly, and 3.45 roughly, and 3.16 roughly. We can change. Do you see how the size changed? We can change this a little bit so that it fits a little better. And we can change where it is on that shape and hit apply. Well, now our design is set to go on that conical shape. We know that it's going to fit on this template, on this cup that I have. Sorry, I didn't have my screen up. But we'll just go back and do it again. How about that? So y'all can see it. You see how big this is? I want it to be the size of my cup. So this was about 3.15, and this was about 3.45. Notice how the size is changing. And this was 3.16. And did you see how that changed to the size? I'm getting a little frustrated with you. There. It changed. We're going to change it over here. I can push it up or down on that item using this. It's the up and down arrow. And I can make it a little bigger to fit that space. So now you know that your design is going to fit in that shape that you put into the software. Okay? Awesome. All right, so we'll close that, and I'm going to move this over so we can export it. Okay, so we need to make this a compound path. So the lettering is now a compound path. For some reason it's not letting me. Well, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to export it and save it. So right here I'm going to say save as to my hard drive. And I'm going to go to my teaching files. This is going to be Why Not, and I'm going to save it. And I'm also going to save it as an SVG. It goes to the same place, only now here I'm just going to choose SVG and say OK. So now my file is saved. All is good. All is very pleasant. Now I'm going to open my Cricut software because I want you to see what happens when I open my Cricut software. We're going to go over here to we're going to go to Upload. Boy, I'm just like floundering around here a little bit tonight. I'm going to find my teaching files. And I'm going to choose the Why Not SVG. And you see it comes in with, this is all transparent because it's got the blue and white squares. And we're going to save. Now I'll select it. Insert the image. But remember, it comes in small because there's no way for me to save it compatible to the design workspace. So I know that the height of my design, I know this is roughly 3 inches where I want it. So I'm going to make my design 3 inches. Just like that. I'm going to put it here. Now let's see what happens if I send it to make it. Let's see what happens. These are all one piece. They are not attached. Watch what happens. Didn't exactly happen the way you thought it might, did it? Okay, let's cancel. I can't express this enough. When you're going to send something to your machine with the Cricut, when you're going to send an SVG to make it, you need to click Attach. If you don't, it's going to throw it up into the upper left-hand corner and arrange it the way it wants to arrange it to save you vinyl. It's looking out for your best interest. It's going to save you vinyl if it can. So just remember that you want to click Attach before sending it, before making it. Okay, let me say that again in Danish because this is important. Before you send an SVG to your machine, before you click Make It, you want to click Attach. Unless you don't mind if it mixes everything up and saves you vinyl and does some weird stuff. You have to click Attach. Okay, so we're going to click Attach. You can see how, well, that's interesting. I have 2 of everything in here. How very interesting. I'm going to turn off the red ones because I don't know why they're there. Frankly, I've never seen the software do that before, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm good with that. Okay, I'm going to click Attach and send it to Make It. Now look what happened. It's all one color, so it's all right here up in the upper corner. This is what we want. We want to cut it all in one piece. But you know, I don't like it that close to the edge, so I'm just going to pull it down a little bit. I'm just a little more comfortable that way. And now we're going to load the vinyl onto the mat and get ready to cut it. Yeah, here's the Cricut mat. I'm just going to turn it around so I have a nice left corner. This is like a sparkly, sticky vinyl. It's a sparkling, sticky vinyl. Okay. We're going to load the mat between those grooves. And I had the Cricut machine out, so I just didn't switch. machines. Okay, so that's ready to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean this glass with some alcohol. I'm just going to put it on this side, so I'm only concerned about cleaning this side, because that blue will look kind of cool on the gold. Dry it off, clean it up. Okay, now I'm just going to find where I want to put the design, and I want to put the design right there. I'm just setting the cup on top of the lid. It's going to keep it from rocking around too much. Okay, the next thing we can do is just we're going to hit continue on the software. There it is. Okay, and I'm going to use a glitter vinyl setting. Now, knowing this about the glitter, know this. I cut this earlier, and I had just a little trouble for the first time, with the standard settings. I think my blade is getting dull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to say more. It's going to add just a little bit more pressure on a blade that's growing a little bit dull. So it's all set to go, and we'll see how this cuts. Now the next thing I'm going to do, it says press the flashing go button, which is the Cricut icon, and I'm going to press it. And while that's cutting, it's quiet enough for me to talk over. Some great comments in the questions yesterday. It was good to see how some of you got into the cutting hobby and what your first projects were. That was kind of cool. Some of you did some things out of the Brother project library, which is very cool. Some did them out of the Cricut library, which is also very cool. Others did them just downloading designs from a website and making something of your own. That's very neat. I think, I mentioned this before, I'm going to have a post maybe once a week, so y'all can post what you're working on or what you made for the week, and we can kind of share what we're doing and give each other some encouragement and maybe some ideas and, you know, help if we had trouble with a project or something like that. So if you'd like that, just let me know in the comments that you would like me to do that. I would really be happy to do that. Hi, Billy. Yeah, these calipers are amazing because I'm mathematically challenged. So I'll say to Larry, I need to measure this. And he's like, okay. So he got me these calipers that go all the way out to 8 inches, which is really, you know, cool. 6 or 8 inches, something like that. And I can measure pretty much anything and get an accurate measurement either in inches or millimeters. So I'm very excited about my calipers. They were about $10 on Amazon. And they're just called digital calipers, carbon fiber composites digital calipers on Amazon. Go get yourself a pair. You won't regret it. You won't regret it at all. Okay, so our mat is done. Our cutting is done. We're going to press the little flashing button. I'm going to flip that over and peel my mat off to try and keep my vinyl from doing too much of a roll. I'm just going to cut around my design. I'm just cutting around my design so that I can weed it and not waste any more vinyl than I have to waste. Just be very careful as you check your design, as you look at it. I'm going to set this over here. Now I'll grab my weed and pick tools. Weed and pick. And I'm going to weed this. This metallic vinyl is a little more challenging to weed, but you know, if you're patient, you'll get it. See, it's a little more challenging. And this cuts so much nicer with adding a little more pressure. I'm glad that I knew about that little trick. Now I can go in and just make a whole new setting and say, I want to give a whole new setting for, my T didn't stay down, so I'm going to encourage it to stay down. I can say I want a whole new setting for the glitter vinyl, and I can make a whole brand new setting for that. And I will show you how to do that, because it's a handy little thing to know how to do. Okay, so that's good. Just have one little issue. The T didn't want to stay in its spot, but it is there, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Let's try the pick, the weed and pick, and see if that's, oh, so much better for this vinyl. Okay, that's good to know. And I'm going to get the E out. Okay, so our design cut. It cut great. It cut perfect. Now we're going to slide this back over. Wipe off any dust that may have gotten onto it. Get some transfer tape. Perfect. Again, this is a hair tie. It's nothing special, it's just a hair tie. I'm going to peel off. And lay it down on top of the design. Use my scraper. This is my summer hangout with my neighbor glass. And then we're ready to go. All I have to do now is to decide exactly where I want it. Well, I don't think I want it straight. I think I want it to be fun, so I'm going to put it a little bit crooked on there, just for the artistic value. I'm going to burnish it really good. Okay, let's see what we've got. On an angle, flat. I'm actually holding the roll nice and flat against the glass and just rolling it on an angle. And there it is, without a problem, with no issues with the shape of the glass. It came out beautiful. Came out beautiful. Here, that's better. Came out beautiful. Now you don't want to put this in the dishwasher. Of course, I don't put these insulated cups in the dishwasher to begin with. So you don't want to put this in the dishwasher. And you want to give it a good 24 to 48 hours to really cure, to get that glue to seal before you do put it into water or wash it. Just, to give it a chance to stay on. And that's our glass for the day. And there it is up behind me.